Okay, thank you. And then final question, I don't think it should take long, so I'd actually like to hear from all three of you. So in 2018, the legislature passed the Patients' Right to Know Act, which required the board to add a probation summary to the profile pages of physicians on probation for acts of serious misconduct. In your opinion, do those additional efforts need to be made? Do additional efforts need to be made to ensure patients are aware of physician misconduct or disciplinary action, i.e., use of a non-disclosure agreement? I appreciate brief answers from all three of you. Thank you.
Dr. Thorp, why don't you start, and then we'll go to Dr. GnanaDev and then Dr. Mahmood.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I think that regulation, that requirement is extremely important. I believe those were specifically designed for people for physicians who were involved in any kind of sexual misconduct or were using any kind of substance inappropriately, specifically in those cases where these were felt to be significant potential harm for patients. If they would have known that, they would have certainly chosen another doctor. I do, I understand where you're coming from with this. I am a little bit concerned about the unintended consequences of requiring every probationary doctor to have to disclose that to their patients. Not that patients shouldn't have the access. They do if they go on the medical board website. That's clearly outlined on the medical board website. But up front, when somebody is actually establishing a relationship with you, it's very chilling to some people to say, well, what's going on? What's your probation about? I'm not saying that it's not a idea that should be considered, but I am saying I think we've got to be careful about what the consequences might be of doing that.
Yeah, thank you. There are
Yes,
two more, yeah, the
yes.
other two. And then I'm done at that point, Madam Pro Tem.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Doctor, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Senator Wilk. We worked quite a bit on patient notification from the probationary physicians with Senator Hill.
Doctor, why is it that the medical board is reluctant to notify patients when their doctors are on probation?
It's a pretty complex issue, Senator. Let me have Ms. Kirschmeyer answer that first.
So I guess, as I look at the appendix to the background paper today, and I look through all of the doctors, I just pick a couple of them. Convicted of unlicensed practice of medicine, sting operation of laser led to arrest for unlawfully performing Botox, laser hair removal, other procedures. This is just one that I found, and you don't think that affects the patient-doctor relationship by having that as a background that the patient should be aware of? Makes no sense. Is one of the reasons, a concern that I have is when you look at the majority of the board, they are physicians, and I think they're members of the California Medical Association, which has a strong position in opposition to patient notification. Do you feel that that has anything to do with this position of the board?
No, sir. I'm emphatic on that one. The board, in the end, does whatever it can take actually to revoke license rather than put some of these people you talk about on probation. Our preference is actually to revoke license rather than put on probation. So that's what we are still working on this, Senator, as we mentioned before, that we continue to see how we can satisfy the notification requirement at the same time actually do not destroy that doctor-patient relationship. I don't know, if I go to a doctor, just to go to a primary care doctor, and if the person says to me, oh, by the way, I'm on probation, there goes my whatever trust I had completely gone. And there is no more sacred relationship in my mind as a physician for about 40 years than what is between a doctor and a patient. It's one-on-one. That's about it. So,
Isn't the fact that you are dishonest with the patient by not disclosing and telling that patient that you are on probation or that there are conditions to your probation related to your practice of medicine, that's not dishonest?
all that information is provided before the patient goes, Senator. So that's all I can tell you, because that information is available. And we're also looking at what other ways we can provide that information can be there in doctor's office. We haven't gone there yet, but we're seriously looking at it.
I think it's fairly clear, and I could go through and list a number of them, but to claim that the website is the only form of access to this information, I mean, as the background paper states, there are many examples where, especially related to seniors who are most inclined to be seeking medical attention, they're, in many cases, computer illiterate. They don't have access to computers. They're not using them. And people of color, in some instances, are in more instances, are not familiar with that. So to expect them to do that makes no sense.
And the Assembly BNP committee to really come up with this solution, which is egregious offenses. Actually, doctor has to give them on paper or orally tell them what it is about. For the rest of the probation, it is already on the website. And with our app, which any patient can get the app, and they can see all their doctors right there. We are encouraging our patients, actually our consumers, to really download the app and take a look and see maybe the doctor had a public letter of reprimand or a probation for driving under the influence a couple times, which had nothing to do with patient care, but had that. So, but that can be seen. So, it's available, and as we need anything more, we'll come to you. I think this is the biggest achievement we're able to do. As far as I recall, this is the only medical board in the country which has that, where doctors for some egregious offenses, doctors have to, in person or in writing, notify every patient when they come to see them why they're on probation.
Thank you.